Chapter 1. The Calm Beginning. Dear listener, as you settle into the soft embrace of your evening, letting the day's gentle hum fade into a whisper of twilight, allow me to guide you into a dreamy tale woven from the threads of time and treasure, a story titled The Silent Fortune of Hidden Coins, a dreamy story of wealth lost and found. This is a meditative journey, slow and soothing, like the gradual descent of night over an ancient town, where the air grows cool and still, carrying faint scents of blooming jasmine and damp earth from gardens long overgrown. We begin not with haste or excitement, but with a calm beginning, setting our scene in a quiet village nestled along the rolling hills of a forgotten countryside, where cobblestone paths wind lazily between homes of weathered stone, their roofs tiled in terracotta that glows softly under the moon's pale gaze, inviting you to imagine yourself drifting there, your breath sensing with the subtle rhythm of leaves rustling in a distant breeze, as we explore the silent fortunes that coins can hold, hidden wealth sleeping beneath the soil, gold and silver treasures from history's gentle folds, lost and found in the dreamy passage of iris. Picture this ancient town, dear listener, its outlines blurring in the haze of memory, where the sun sets low behind olive groves, casting long golden shadows that stretch like peaceful invitations across meadows, dotted with wildflowers, poppies, nodding in red petals. Soft as silk, their faint herbal scent mingling with the earthy aroma of turned soil from nearby fields, where farmers once tilled the land with plows of wood and bronze handles, smoothed by generations of calloused hands, fostering a sense of timeless tranquility that envelops the soul like a warm blanket on a cool night as we delve into the lives of those who walked these paths, their fortunes and coins not flaunted, but cherished in quiet quarters, ancient money that whispered of security and dreams deferred, hidden for safety in times of uncertainty, now resting silently as we begin our tale. Feel yourself sinking deeper into this serene landscape, your eyelids growing heavy with the weight of relaxation, as we envision the town's central square, expanse of worn stone slabs cool underfoot, veined with faint cracks like rivers on a map of history, where a fountain burbles softly in the center, its water trickling from carved spouts in a rhythmic patter that lulls the mind like rain on leaves, scented with the mineral tang of spring-fed pools bubbling up from underground depths, blending with the distant smoke from hearth fires, where families gathered at dusk, their chimneys releasing curls of wood smoke that carry notes of burning oak and pine, warm and resinous, evoking the calm of daily life in this ancient place where merchants and artisans lived in harmony with the seasons, their wealth accumulated not in grand vaults, but in simple purses of leather, soft to the touch, filled with coins of gold and silver that clinked faintly like distant bells when handled, each piece stamped with motifs of rulers long faded into legend, fostering a dreamy reflection on how such hidden wealth began as everyday savings, treasures buried to protect against the whims of fate, lost to time but waiting to be found, history's gentle narrative unfolding in the quietude of this beginning, where the town's elders would sit on benches of smoothed wood, sharing stories under starlit skies dotted with constellations that seemed to map the paths of forgotten fortunes, the air cooling further as night deepens. inviting your thoughts to wander freely through these scenes, without rush, just the soothing flow of imagery that eases you toward slumber. As we drift through this calm introduction, dear listener, let your imagination linger on the homes lining the square. Their walls of sun-baked brick, textured with faint patterns from years of wind and rain. Doors of heavy oak creaking open on hinges oiled with care, releasing wafts of indoor warmth bread baking in clay ovens, its yeasty aroma blending with stewed herbs from pots, simmering over low flames, as families inside counted their modest fortunes. Coins saved from market days where barters exchanged wool for grain, silver for spices imported from distant shores. Each transaction a soft murmur in the marketplace. Voices low and steady, like a river's flow, fostering a sense of community bound by trust and trade, where hidden wealth was not a secret hoarded in greed, but a precaution against life's uncertainties. Gold coins heavy in the palm, their surfaces cool and smooth, etched with profiles of emperors whose eyes seemed to gaze into eternity. Silver pieces lighter, tinkling with a brighter note when stacked, all part of the silent fortune that would one day be buried, lost in the earth's embrace, to be rediscovered in wonder centuries later, evoking a meditative peace as we reflect on the beginnings of such stories, the town sleeping under a blanket of stars, crickets chirping in rhythmic harmony from hidden grasses, their song a lullaby that syncs with your breathing, slowing it to a gentle cadence, the night air scented with night-blooming flowers, whose petals unfurl in velvety whites, releasing a sweet, ethereal perfume that soothes senses, turning this calm beginning into a portal for dreams, where history and treasure intertwine in soft, flowing narratives. Envision now the outskirts of the town, where paths lead to rolling fields and ancient orchards, trees heavy with fruit apples ripening in shades of crimson, their skins smooth and dewy, scented with a tart sweetness that hangs in the air like a promise of harvest. As villagers walk these lanes at twilight, their lanterns casting warm, flickering glows that dance like fireflies on the ground, illuminating wild hedges where berries cluster in dark purples, juicy and cool to the touch, fostering a dreamy connection to the land that nurtured their wealth. Coins earned from labors in these very fields hidden, later in jars of clay, buried under roots that twisted like guardians over time. The soil rich and loamy, its damp scent rising as one digs lightly with hands or tools, evoking the essence of hidden treasure, gold and silver sleeping in silence, lost to the families who placed them there, but found in tales that span generations. History's meditative whisper, reminding us of fortune's fleeting nature, the town's calm enveloping all like a mother's embrace, winds whispering through branches with a hush that calms the mind, inviting you to close your eyes and float along this narrative, where the silent fortune begins its journey, wealth concealed in the earth's quiet depths, waiting for the soft touch of rediscovery. Ancient money's story unfolding without haste, just the peaceful rhythm of words that guide you toward restful slumber. Drift with me further into this beginning's tranquility, dear listener, where the river bordering the town flows lazily, its water smooth as glass under the moon, reflecting ripples of light that shimmer like scattered coins on the surface. The gentle lap against banks of soft mud, scented with reeds and fresh water, fish gliding beneath in silent schools, their scales flashing faintly in the depths, as fishermen once cast nets woven from hemp, rough yet yielding in the hands, pulling in catches that fed families and funded small fortunes in silver pieces saved over seasons, hidden away in times of whispers about distant wars or wandering thieves, fostering a sense of serene precaution that colors our tale. The river's murmur, a constant lullaby, blending with the occasional hoot of an owl from treetops, its call soft and echoing like a guardian of the night, evoking reflections on how such calm settings birth stories of lost and found treasure. Gold coins buried near these waters, their metallic gleam dulled by soil but revived in discovery's light. History weaving through the landscape like vines climbing stone walls, textured and alive with moss soft as velvet. The air growing heavier with dew as midnight approaches. Scents of lavender from hillside fields, wafting in subtle waves, soothing your thoughts into a dreamy haze where the boundaries between past and present blur, turning this chapter into a gentle foundation for the journey ahead, fortunes hidden in the silence of time, waiting to be explored in soothing detail. As the town slumbers in this calm beginning, dear listener, we pause here in the quiet, the stars above twinkling like distant gold in the sky's vast treasury, fostering a sense of peaceful anticipation for what comes next, where we will delve into the wealth of coins themselves, those gleaming symbols of ancient prosperity that set the stage for hiding and rediscovery. Let this imagery linger as you drift towards sleep, the story continuing in your dreams of silent fortunes and hidden wonders. Chapter 2. The Wealth of Coins. Dear listener, as the tranquil scenes of our ancient town linger in your mind like a soft mist settling over moonlit fields, where the night's gentle hush invites deeper relaxation, let us drift seamlessly into the wealth of coins, those shimmering symbols of prosperity that families and merchants cherished in quiet abundance, gold and silver pieces gathered over lifetimes of trade and toil, not as sources of lavish display, but as silent guardians of security, hidden wealth that whispered promises of stability in an uncertain world. Ancient money forged from the earth's hidden veins, lost to time in buried fortunes, only to be found in dreamy rediscoveries that echo through history as soothing corridors. Imagine, if you will, the soft glow of a candlelit room within one of these humble homes, the flame flickering gently on a wick of twisted cotton, casting warm, amber shadows that dance lazily across walls of plastered stone, textured with faint cracks like the veins in a leaf, the air scented with the faint, woody aroma of beeswax melting slowly, blending with the subtle earthiness of the clay floor beneath, as a merchant sits at a low wooden table, its surface smoothed by years of use, scarred with gentle grooves from countless countings, his hands calloused yet tender from handling silks, and spices reaching into a leather pouch soft as aged hide, drawing forth coins that clink faintly together like distant wind chimes in a breeze, each one a testament to transactions in bustling markets, where voices murmured in harmonious barters, fostering a sense of calm. Accumulation where fortune grew not in sudden rushes, but in the steady rhythm of daily life gold. Coins heavy in the palm with their lustrous sheen, catching the light in subtle gleams. Silver ones lighter, their surfaces cool and matte, etched with intricate designs of olive branches or regal profiles that evoked empires long faded, into legend, turning this chapter into a meditative exploration of wealth's quiet essence treasures that would one day be hidden sleeping, silently until rediscovered in wonder. Feel yourself sinking further into this serene reflection, your breath slowing to match the unhurried pace of the merchant's counting. As we envision the coins themselves in greater detail, each gold piece a small sun captured in metal forged in distant mints, or hammers struck with rhythmic thuds on anvils heated by glowing forges. The air there, thick with the metallic tongue of molten ore, blended with the smoky residue of charcoal fires, now cooled, and shaped into discs smooth to the touch, their edges milled with faint ridges that catch the fingertips like whispers of texture, scented faintly with the residual oils from hands that have held them, evoking the journeys these coins have traveled, from mines deep in hills where miners toiled in dimly lit tunnels, the earth around them damp and cool, releasing scents of whetstone and mineral veins that gleamed like hidden stars, to caravans winding through sun-dappled deserts, camels padding softly on sands that shifted like silk underfoot, their bells tinkling in melodic harmony, carrying these fortunes to our ancient town, where they became part of family treasures. Hidden wealth amassed over generations. Silver coins perhaps traded for wool from shepherds' flocks grazing on hillsides, carpeted in soft grasses swaying in the wind, their fleeces warm and lanolin scented, fostering a dreamy sense of connection to the land's bounty. History weaving through each piece as ancient money that sustained lives without fanfare, lost in burial during times of whisper-soft fears, only to be found centuries later, their rediscovery a gentle reminder of wealth's enduring allure. The merchants stacking them now in neat piles on the table, the soft clatter a lullaby that soothes the mind, inviting you to close your eyes and imagine holding one its weight, a comforting presence, gold's warmth seeping into your skin like sunlight filtered through leaves. As we delve deeper into this wealth's tranquil tapestry, dear listener, let your thoughts wander through the sensory richness of these coins' origins, envisioning the silver mines high in misty mountains, where veins of ore twisted through rock like rivers of moonlight, miners descending with lanterns, casting flickering glows on walls, damp with condensation that dripped softly like tears from the earth, the air cool and heavy with the sharp, metallic scent of exposed minerals, blended with the musty essence of underground, caverns echoing with the faint taps of picks against stone, each strike releasing sparks that danced briefly like fireflies in the dark, silver extracted and purified in crucibles over slow-burning fires, the molten liquid pouring into molds with a hushed sigh cooling to form ingots smooth and heavy, later hammered into coins that rang with a clear bell-like tone when tested, fostering a sense of serene craftsmanship or artisans in sunlit workshops, their aprons stained with faint traces of metal dust, engraved designs with tools fine as needles, the scritch of etching a rhythmic whisper against the surface, evoking the history of ancient money that flowed from these heights to valley towns, hidden fortunes built from such labors, gold perhaps sourced from riverbeds where panners knelt in shallow waters, the current lapping gently at their knees with a cool, silky touch, sifting sands that glittered with flecks of treasure. the wet earth scented with fresh silt and wild mint growing along the banks, leaves crushing underfoot to release a refreshing aroma that cleared the mind, turning raw nuggets into polished coins that merchants like ours would save. Their wealth, a collection of these pieces, each one a story of trade and trust, lost to burial in jars of clay buried under hearthstones, rediscovered in future eras as testaments to forgotten prosperity. The merchant's room now filled with the subtle gleam of stacked fortunes, shadows lengthening as the candle burns low, its flame a steady companion in this meditative scene. Drift with me now, dear listener, through the quiet lives intertwined with this wealth, imagining a family gathered around the table as the merchant shares his day's earnings. Children with wide eyes watching the coins spill forth like stars tumbling from the sky, their small fingers tracing the engravings, lions rampant or wreaths of laurel, textured faintly under touch, cool nettle warming from their grasp. The air scented with evening meal of stew simmering in a pot over the fire, savory notes of onions and herbs blending with the faint, metallic whisper from the coins, fostering a sense of familial harmony where fortune was not hoarded in isolation, but woven into the fabric of daily existence. Silver pieces set aside for dowries or tools, gold reserved for uncertain tomorrows, ancient money that carried the weight of dreams, hidden later in times of subtle unrest, treasures sleeping beneath the soil as generations passed, lost and found in history's gentle cycle. The family's voices low and soothing like a lullaby, murmured in the dim light, evoking reflections on how such wealth represented more than mere value security in a world of changing seasons, where autumn leaves fell softly in russet hues, crunching underfoot with a dry, papery scent, or spring rains pattered on roofs in rhythmic drops, washing the earth clean for new growth, coins symbolizing the endurance of effort, their clink a soft echo of labors in fields, where plows turned furrows of rich loam, scented with fertile soil and blooming wildflowers, petals soft as velvet scattering in the wind, turning this chapter into a dreamy ode to prosperity's quiet forms, fortunes that would be buried, their silence a blanket over centuries, awaiting rediscovery's calm awe. Envision further the marketplace where these coins changed hands, a bustling yet serene space under awnings of woven canvas that flapped gently in the breeze like sails on a calm sea, their fabric textured with sun-faded patterns releasing a faint fibrous aroma blended with the myriad scents of good spices and sacks of burlap, rough to the touch cinnamon's woody warmth, wafting lazily close, budding with spicy depth merchants, calling out in voices steady and inviting, not shouts, but murmurs that blended with the crowd's hum like a river's flow, coins exchanged for bolts of linen soft as clouds, dyed in earthy tones from vats or colors steeped in herbal infusions, their wet scent lingering on the threads, fostering a sense of communal wealth where gold and silver facilitated bonds, hidden fortunes growing from such trades, ancient money circulating like breath in a living body, lost in hiding during whispers of distant storms, found again in tailies that soothe the soul, the market's ground scattered with straw soft underfoot, cushioning steps and absorbing the occasional dropped coin's faint tink, evoking the intricate web of history where treasure was both tangible and ethereal, the sun dipping lower to cast golden hues over stalls, shadows merging in peaceful unity, inviting your mind to relax into this imagery, breaths deepening as the wealth of coins unfolds in layers of calming detail. As we linger in this chapter's gentle embrace, dear listener, the merchant seals his pouch with a drawstring pulled softly, the leather sighing as it closes over the coin's quiet gleam, fostering a sense of peaceful completion where wealth in its golden and silver forms sets the foundation for what follows, hidden treasures waiting in the earth's tender hold. Let this reflection carry you smoothly into the next phase of our dreamy tale, where we explore the hidden fear that prompted such fortunes to be buried, continuing this soothing journey through history's whispered secrets. Chapter 3. The Hidden Fear. Dear listener, as the merchant's pouch rests securely in the dimming candlelight of his home, its contents of gold and silver coins gleaming faintly like stars veiled by twilight clouds, let us drift gently onward in our dreamy tale, easing into the hidden fear that stirred in the hearts of these ancient folk. Not a storm of panic or dread, but a subtle undercurrent of caution, like a soft breeze rippling the surface of a still pond at dusk, whispering of uncertain times when wars or wanderers cast long shadows over peaceful villages, prompting families to safeguard their fortunes by entrusting them to the earth's quiet embrace. Hidden wealth in coins buried deep where no prying eyes could find them. Ancient money sleeping in silence through history's gentle turns, lost to immediate grasp, but preserved for rediscovery's calm wonder. Imagine this fear not as a sharp jolt, dear listener, but as a serene awareness settling over the town like the gradual cooling of evening air after a warm day, where the sun dips below hills in hues of lavender and gold, casting elongated shadows that stretch across fields like peaceful fingers. The air scented with fading wildflowers' lavender blooms, releasing their herbal calm in subtle waves, mingled with the earthy dampness of soil, turning cooler underfoot. As villagers gathered in hushed conversations by hearth fires, flames crackling softly with the pop of dry twigs, their light flickering on faces lined with quiet resolve, fostering a meditative reflection on how such hidden fears arose from whispers of distant unrest. Perhaps rumors of invading armies marching on roads far away, their footsteps a distant rhythm like thunder muffled by mountains, or tales of roving bandits who moved like shadows through forests, leaves rustling faintly under their stealthy treads, evoking not alarm, but a thoughtful prudence that led to burying treasures. Gold coins heavy with promise, tucked into jars of clay smooth and cool to the touch, silver pieces tinkling softly as they settled in their earthen beds, turning this chapter into a soothing exploration of caution's gentle veil, where fortune's safeguarding became a lullaby of foresight, woven into the fabric of daily life. Feel yourself enveloped in this tranquil undercurrent, your breaths deepening to align with the slow rhythm of the villagers' deliberations. As we envision a family elder, seated on a stool of woven reeds that creak faintly under his weight, textured like the bark of ancient oaks, his voice a low murmur, blending with the evening's hush, sharing stories passed down through generations. The room warmed by the fire's glow, reflecting on walls adorned with simple tapestries of dyed wool soft to the feel, scented with faint traces of lanolin and herbal dyes from distant markets, evoking the hidden fear born from history's echoes times, when empires shifted like sands in a desert wind, borders blurring in the haze of change, not with clashes of steel, but with the subtle erosion of stability, where taxes rose like tides or harvests, failed under skies heavy with unyielding clouds, rain pattering softly on roofs in persistent drops that soaked the thatch with a musty aroma, fostering a sense of serene vigilance that prompted the burial of coins, hidden wealth as a quiet assurance against what might come, gold's luster dimmed only by the soil's embrace, silver's cool gleam preserved in darkness, ancient money that carried the weight of unspoken worries, lost in the ground as families continued their lives in harmonious routine, the elders' hands gesturing slowly, palms etched with lines like maps of lived experience, inviting dreamy reflections on how fear, in its mildest form, was like a distant horizon cloud, not threatening storm, but a reminder to prepare, treasures buried under floorboards of smoothed wood, their grain warm and familiar, or beneath the roots of olive trees, whose leaves whispered in the breeze, like guardians over secrets. The earth's scent rising as soil was parted gently with tools of bone or iron, damp and fertile, blending with the night's cooling dew that settled on grasses soft as velvet. As we float through this chapter's calm depths, dear listener, let your imagination linger on the sensory whispers of these uncertain times, picturing the town at twilight, lanterns lit in windows with wicks burning steadily, casting golden pools of light that spill onto paths of cobblestone cool and uneven underfoot, textured with moss in the cracks that release a faint green earth aroma when stepped upon. As news traveled on the wings of travelers' tailies, voices soft and steady like a brook's flow over pebbles, speaking of far-off conflicts where banners fluttered in winds scented with dust from marching feet, or economic shifts where markets quieted like a fading melody, stalls emptying of goods with the rustle of canvas folded away, fostering the hidden fear that wealth might slip through fingers like sand, prompting the careful concealment of fortunes, coins gathered in purses of leather, supple from use, their drawstrings pulled with a soft sigh, then placed in vessels of terracotta baked to a warm hue, smooth surfaces etched with faint patterns from the potter's wheel, evoking history's gentle lessons where ancient money was not flaunted but protected, lost to immediate use but found in the earth's patient hold, the fear itself a soothing motivator, like the first chill of autumn inviting one to gather wood for winter fires, crackling with resinous pops that filled homes with smoky warmth, turning precaution into a meditative act. Families kneeling by chosen spots in gardens where flowers bloomed in cycles, petals soft and fragrant roses unfurling in velvety pinks, their scent a sweet balm that eased the mind, as holes were dug with spades, whose blades sliced the soil with hushed scrapes, releasing the rich, loamy perfume of turned earth, blended with roots' woody tongue, coins pouring in with a muffled clatter, each piece a note in a symphony of safeguarding, hidden wealth sleeping under layers of soil, padded smooth like a blanket over a child's rest. Drift deeper now, dear listener, into the emotional serenity of this hidden fear, envisioning a mother in her kitchen, surrounded by shelves of clay jars holding grains and herbs, their contents rustling faintly when disturbed, scented with dried thyme and sage that released pungent whispers into the air as she listened to the winds outside, carrying hints of change, not howling gales, but gentle gusts that swayed branches with a hush like silk sliding over stone, fostering a quiet resolve to bury the family savings. Gold coins saved from years of spinning wool into threads fine and soft. Silver from selling woven baskets textured with reeds, harvested from riverbanks where waters lapped softly with a fresh, aquatic murmur, the fear manifesting as a tender concern for tomorrow, like watching clouds gather slowly on the horizon in shades of gray soft as down, evoking reflections on how such times wove caution into daily rhythms without disrupting the peace. Treasures hidden near hearths where embers glowed with a steady warmth. Their light dancing on ceilings beamed with timber scented faintly of pine resin, turning the act of burial into a family ritual, hands working together in unison, soil sifting through fingers cool and granular, coins nestling in their new home with a final soft tint that echoed like a distant bell tolling in mist. Ancient money's fortune preserved against uncertainties, lost in the ground as life flowed onward, rediscovery a dreamy promise in history's embrace, the mother's eyes reflecting the fire's calm glow, her thoughts a lullaby of protection that soothed the household into slumber. Beds of straw matting soft and yielding, scented with haze dry sweetness inviting rest under quilts patched with fabrics warm to the touch. Envision further the broader landscape where this hidden fear took root, dear listener. A town nestled among hills, rolling gently like waves frozen in time, their slopes carpeted in vineyards where grapes hung in clusters heavy and juicy, skins bursting with sweet nectar under the sun's soft caress, scented with ripening fruit that perfumed the air in lazy drifts. As farmers felt the subtle shift in seasons, harvests perhaps threatened by frosts that blanketed fields in crystalline whispers, cool and ephemeral, fostering the decision to conceal coins earned from pressing olives into oil golden and viscous it's nutty. Aroma lingering on presses of wood, smoothed by use hidden wealth, buried under groves, where roots delved deep like anchors in the soil, evoking a sense of harmonious adaptation, where fear was but a quiet companion, not an overpowering force. Ancient treasures of gold and silver, placed in pouches wrapped in cloth soft as linen, then lowered into pits lined with stones smooth and cool. The earth's embrace a comforting silence that muffled any worries. History recording these acts in unspoken chapters. Lost fortunes waiting through centuries for the gentle hand of fate to uncover them. The hills themselves guardians, their contours softened by twilight's haze, winds sighing through grasses tall and swaying, their seed heads rustling like pages, turning in a book of timeless tales, turning this meditation on fear into a balm for the soul, where caution bloomed into wisdom without the thorn of anxiety, coins sleeping in peace as stars emerged overhead, twinkling like scattered silver in the sky's vast fortune. As we rest in this chapter's soothing exploration, dear listener, the hidden fear fades into a gentle resolve, like the last light of day yielding to night's calm veil, fostering a sense of peaceful preparation that leads naturally to the act itself, where we will delve into the secret burial of these cherished coins, continuing our dreamy journey through the silent fortunes of history. Chapter 4. The Secret Burial. Dear listener, as the hidden fear settles like a soft veil of mist over the ancient town's twilight, drawing families into a serene resolve without the stir of urgency, let us glide gently forward in our dreamy tale, easing into the secret burial itself, that tranquil act of entrusting fortunes to the earth's patient hold, where coins of gold and silver were carefully placed in jars of clay or pouches of leather, nestled beneath hearthstones, under the roots of venerable trees, or within the quiet depths of garden soil. Hidden wealth preserved in silence against the whispers of time. Ancient money sleeping undisturbed as history's gentle currents flowed onward, lost to the surface world, but waiting for rediscovery's calm unveiling. Imagine this burial not as a hurried concealment, dear listener, but as a meditative ritual performed under the cover of night, when the moon hangs low in the sky like a silver coin suspended in velvet darkness, its pale light filtering through branches and dappled patterns that dance softly on the ground, the air cool and still, scented with the dewy freshness of night-blooming flowers, jasmine petals unfurling in delicate whites, their velvety fragrance wafting lazily like a sigh from the earth, blended with the subtle, loamy aroma of soil, awakened by evening's touch. As a family gathers in their courtyard, lanterns dim to a warm glow that flickers like distant fireflies, casting elongated shadows on walls of weathered stone, textured with faint moss that clings like green velvet, fostering a sense of peaceful intimacy, where the act unfolds slowly, hands moving with deliberate grace, digging tools of wood and iron, slicing into the ground with hushed scrapes that blend with the night's symphony of crickets chirping in rhythmic harmony from hidden grasses. Coins gathered from pouches soft to the touch, their metallic gleam muted in the low light, gold heavy and warm like captured sunlight, silver cool and luminous like moonlight's essence, each piece placed with care into containers chosen for their humility, turning this chapter into a soothing ode to safeguarding, where fortune's burial became a lullaby of trust in the earth's embrace, treasures hidden in history's tender folds, awaiting the soft revelation of lost and found wonders. Feel yourself drifting alongside this serene process, your breath sensing with the unhurried rhythm of the family's movements, as we envision the father kneeling by the hearth inside their home, the fire reduced to glowing embers that crackle faintly with the pop of cooling ash, releasing a warm, smoky scent of charred oak mingled with the earthy residue of the clay floor beneath. His fingers lifting a loose stone slab smooth and cool to the touch, veined with faint quartz that sparkles subtly in the ember light, creating a shallow cavity where a jar of terracotta baked to a warm reddish hue in village kilns, its surface textured with the potter's gentle thumbprints waits to receive the fortune, coins pouring in with a muffled clink like raindrops falling on leaves, each gold piece settling with a soft thud, its edges ridged and familiar under fingertips that trace their contours one last time, silver coins following in a cascade of brighter tones, their tinkling a melodic whisper that echoes in the quiet room, fostering a dreamy reflection on how such burials were acts of quiet faith, hidden wealth not abandoned but entrusted to the home's very foundation, ancient money cocooned in clay, sealed with wax that drips slowly from a heated spoon, its honeyed aroma blending with the hearth's warmth, the stone replaced with a gentle press, soil and dust patted over seams to blend seamlessly, evoking the sensory calm of completion. The family standing back in the dim glow, their shadows merging peacefully on the walls, the air growing heavier with night's deepening cool, inviting thoughts to wander on how these treasures would sleep through seasons, lost in the depths, but preserved like seeds, awaiting spring's gentle call. The hearth fire stoked anew with twigs that snapped softly, flames rising in a dance of orange hues that warmed the space like a comforting embrace. As we immerse deeper into this burial's tranquil unfolding, dear listener, let your imagination float to the garden's edge, where under the canopy of an ancient olive tree, its trunk gnarled and textured like braided ropes of time, bark rough yet yielding under palms, leaves silver green and rustling faintly in the breeze like whispers of forgotten lore, the mother digs a modest pit with a spade whose blade gleams dully in moonlight, slicing through soil rich and crumbly, releasing waves of damp earth scent, blended with the tree as resinous tang from roots that delve deep like guardians, the hole widening slowly, sides smooth and cool to the touch, lined perhaps with a cloth of linen soft as down, scented with faint lavender from storage chests where it was kept. As coins are transferred from a leather satchel supple from years of use, its drawstring loosening with a soft sigh, gold and silver tumbling in a gentle stream, their clatter muffled by the fabric's fold, each piece nestling against others in a harmonious pile, evoking history's gentle narrative where such hidden fortunes were buried near sources of life. The tree's branches arching protectively overhead, fruits hanging in dark orbs that promise future harvests with their oily sweetness, fostering a sense of serene continuity as the soil is returned in layers, patted down with hands that feel the earth's cool granularity sifting through fingers, leaves, and twigs scattered over the spot to blend with nature's carpet, the breeze carrying hints of wild mint from nearby hedges, its refreshing aroma a balm that eases the mind, turning the burial into a meditative communion with the land, treasures of ancient money sleeping under roots that would grow and twist over centuries, lost to the family but found in tales of rediscovery, the moon watching impassively as stars emerge in twinkling arrays like scattered coins in the sky's treasury, the garden settling into silence, broken only by the occasional hoot of an owl from distant perches, its call soft and echoing like a lullaby guiding the night. Drift with me further, dear listener, through the sensory whispers of another burial, this one beneath the floorboards of a modest workshop, where an artisan, his hands stained with faint traces of dye from weaving tapestries, fingers calloused yet precise, lifts planks of wood smoothed by countless footsteps, their grain warm and aromatic with the scent of aged cedar resin that lingers in the air, revealing the subfloor of packed earth cool and yielding under touch, a pouch of heavy canvas, rough like burlap, selected to hold the fortune, coins funneled in with a steady pour, gold's weight creating a satisfying heft as it accumulates, silver adding a lighter sparkle that catches the lantern's flicker, the light dancing on surfaces etched with motifs of vines and crowns, fostering a calm reflection on how these acts were woven into evening routines, Hidden wealth secured without fanfare. Ancient monies clink fading as the pouch is tied with cord soft and fibrous, lowered into the depression and covered with soil, sifted gently like flour through a sieve, its fine particles dusting the air with an earthy perfume blended with the workshop as lingering scents of wool and herbal dyes matter roots, deep red essence wafting subtly, indigo's cool tang mingling in the dim space, the boards replaced with nails tapped in rhythmic quietude, their metallic ring a final note in the burial symphony, evoking the peaceful assurance that came from such secrecy, treasures lost to view, but etched in memory like patterns on a loom, the artisan wiping his hands on a cloth soft as chamois, stepping back to survey the undisturbed floor, shadows lengthening as the lantern's flame burns low wick, trimming to a steady glow that soothes the scene into repose, inviting your thoughts to relax into the imagery, breaths deepening as the burial's calm essence envelops you like a warm quilt on a cool evening. Envision now a communal burial in the fields beyond the town, dear listener, where neighbors gather under starlit skies, their forms silhouetted against the horizon's gentle curve, digging in unison with tools that scrape softly against the soil, textured like velvet under moonlight, the air scented with ripening grains from nearby stalks swaying in whispers, their husks rustling like pages in an ancient book, as jars are filled with collective fortunes, gold coins from merchants' trades, silver from farmers' yields, each contribution a soft addition to the cash, clinking in harmony like chimes in a faint breeze, fostering a sense of shared serenity where hidden wealth bound communities in trust, ancient money buried in pits lined with stones smooth and cool, gathered from riverbeds where waters murmured with fresh clarity, the earth returned in mounds padded flat, camouflaged with sod soft and grassy to the touch, evoking history's dreamy cycles, where such acts preserved legacies through uncertain eras, treasures sleeping as winds sighed over the fields, carrying scents of wild thyme crushed underfoot, its herbal pungency a soothing undercurrent, the group dispersing quietly along paths lit by moonlight's silver path, footsteps padding softly on earth that absorbed sound like a sponge, turning the burial into a collective lullaby of precaution, lost fortunes wading through generations for the gentle hand of fate. As we linger in this chapter's peaceful culmination, dear listener, the secret burial's complete under night's tender watch, fostering a sense of serene closure where coins rest in their hidden abodes. Let this imagery flow softly into the next phase of our tale, where we explore the silence of time that enveloped these treasures, continuing our meditative journey through the annals of lost and found wealth. Chapter 5. The Silence of Time. Dear listener, as the secret burials fade into the tranquil hush of night, with coins of gold and silver nestled securely in their earthen cradles beneath, hearths, trees, and fields, let us float gently onward in our dreamy tale, easing into the silence of time itself, that vast and soothing expanse, where decades drifted into centuries like leaves carried on a slow-moving river, the hidden wealth remaining undisturbed in its quiet repose, ancient money sleeping through the gentle ebb and flow of seasons, lost to the world above, but preserved in the earth's patient whisper, awaiting rediscovery's serene unveiling in history's unfolding tapestry. Imagine this silence not as an empty void, dear listener, but as a meditative blanket woven from the subtle rhythms of nature, where time unfolded without haste, the buried fortunes enveloped in layers of soil that settled softly over years. Damp and cool like a perpetual twilight, the air above shifting from crisp autumn breezes scented with fallen leaves, crisp and earthy. Their dry rustle a faint murmur underfoot to the fresh blooms of spring, where wildflowers unfurled in petals, soft as silk releasing, sweet herbal fragrances that danced lazily on warming winds, fostering a sense of eternal calm as villages grew, changed around these hidden spots. Homes expanding with walls of stone textured by rain and sun, roofs thatched anew with straw golden and yielding, while below the coins lay still, gold's luster undimmed in darkness, silver's cool gleam muted, but intact, evoking reflections on how time's passage was a lullaby of transformation, decades blending into centuries like colors in a sunset sky, hidden treasures witnessing the world's quiet evolution from their silent vantage, history weaving onward in threads of peaceful continuity, the earth's embrace a comforting constant, where fortune slept undisturbed, lost in the depths, but echoing through tales of lost and found wonders. Feel yourself sinking deeper into this temporal serenity, your breaths aligning with the unhurried cadence of seasons turning. As we envision the first decade after burial, the garden soil compacting gently over the jar of coins, roots from the olive tree delving downward in slow, twisting paths like fingers exploring in dream, their woody tang seeping into the earth with a subtle, resinous aroma that mingled with the damp loam, leaves above shedding in autumn cycles, carpeting the ground in layers soft and crumbling, their decay releasing a rich, mulchy scent that nourished the soil, while rains pattered softly on the surface, droplets seeping through in hushed trickles cool to the imagined touch, fostering the silence where hidden wealth slumbered, gold coins heavy and still, silver pieces nestled without a clink, as families above continued their lives in harmonious routine, children playing on the very spots with laughter like distant bells, footsteps padding lightly on grass that grew lush and velvety, evoking a dreamy sense of oblivious continuity, time's silence, a balm that allowed history to layer like sediments in a quiet stream ancient. Money preserved as villages expanded, paths widening into roads paved with stones smooth under cartwheels that creaked. Faintly in the distance, the air carrying scents of baking bread from hearths, warmed by fires crackling with pops of sap-filled wood, turning decades into a meditative flow where treasures remained lost, buried fortunes wrapped in the earth's cool, unchanging hold, seasons cycling like an eternal wheel, winters blanketing the land in snow soft as down, its crystalline hush muffling sounds, springs thawing with melts that trickled like whispers into the soil, summers warming the ground to a gentle heat that radiated upward without disturbing the depths, autumns painting leaves in hues of amber and crimson, falling with rustles faint as sighs. As we drift through the expanding hush of centuries, dear listener, let your thoughts wander over the landscape's subtle shifts, envisioning how fields once tilled for grain grew wild in places, grasses tall and swaying in winds that sighed with hints of wild thyme crushed under distant feet, its herbal pungency wafting lazily across meadows, dotted with wildflowers, blooming in successive waves, daisies with petals white and delicate. Their fresh, green scent blending with the earth's underlying dampness, while below, the buried pouch of coins rested in silence, fabric wrapping softening over time, threads yielding to the cool press of soil granular and fine, gold surface gathering a patina of quiet age, silver oxidizing faintly without losing essence, fostering reflections on time's gentle erosion, where hidden wealth witnessed empires rise and fade like shadows lengthening at dusk, not with clamor, but with the serene passage of travelers on roads that meandered nearby, their footsteps a rhythmic patter absorbed by dust soft under sole, carts rumbling with loads of wool or spices, scents of lanolin and cinnamon drifting on breezes that stirred leaves in harmonious rustles, evoking history's dreamy narrative, where centuries layered memories above the treasures, lost fortunes sleeping as towns evolved, buildings rising with bricks baked in kilns whose fires glowed with steady warmth, releasing smoky tendrils that curled skyward, the air growing layered with scents of progress, fresh-cut timber, aromatic with sap, or rivers diverted for irrigation murmuring softly in new channels, their waters lapping with fresh clarity against banks of mud cool and yielding, turning the silence of time into a symphony of subtle changes, coins undisturbed, as stars wheeled overhead in constellations unchanged, twinkling like distant silver in the night's vast fortune, moons waxing and waning in cycles that mirrored the earth's patient guardianship. Drift deeper still, dear listener, into the sensory veil of passing eras, picturing how forests encroached on forgotten burial sites, trees sprouting from seeds carried on winds, their trunks thickening over decades into pillars, textured with bark rough as woven cloth, leaves forming canopies that filtered sunlight in dappled patterns, dancing on the forest floor soft with fallen needles scented, with pine resin sharp and invigorating, while underground, the jar of hidden coins lay enveloped in roots that wrapped gently without intrusion, soil settling in layers cool and compacted, evoking the calm where times as silence allowed wildlife to thrive above deer, padding on hooves that sank softly into moss velvety and green, their musky scent lingering in the underbrush, rustling faintly birds nesting in branches with songs, trilling in melodic whispers at dawn, fostering a sense of harmonious isolation for the buried treasure gold and silver, resting as centuries blurred human traces. Ancient money's fortune lost amid ruins where villages once stood, stones crumbling with the slow grind of weather, vines climbing in tendrils soft to the touch, releasing green, earthy aromas that blended with decayed wood's musty essence. History unfolding in quiet vignettes like pages, turning in a book left open to the elements. Rains soaking through in persistent drizzles that nourished without disruption. Summers baking the surface to a warm crust while depths remained cool. Winters frosting the ground in hoar that sparkled like scattered crystals. Springs awakening with blooms whose petals unfurled in colors vivid yet soothing. Scents of nectar sweet and floral, wafting through air cleared by morning dew, turning this vast silence into a lullaby where hidden wealth slumbered through epochs. Rediscovery, a distant dream in time's endless repose. Envision further the broader tapestry of time's hush, dear listener, where oceans of years washed over continents. Yet in our secluded spots, The coins endured in peaceful solitude, soil minerals seeping slowly to form incrustations faint and brittle around gold's enduring shine, silver's surface mellowing like aged wine, while above, civilizations ebbed in gentle waves, roads falling into disuse overgrown with brambles, thorny yet soft-leaved, their berries ripening in dark purples juicy to the touch, scented with tart sweetness that attracted birds chirping in flocks harmonious and fleeting, fostering meditations on impermanence where hidden fortunes outlasted memories, ancient treasures buried as explorers' maps redrew borders and inks faded over time, their parchment crinkling with age like leaves in autumn, the air carrying echoes of distant changes winds from far seas. Chapter 6. The Forgotten Families. Dear listener, as the silence of time envelops the hidden coins in their earthen sanctuaries, stretching through decades and centuries like a serene river meandering through mist-shrouded valleys, let us drift softly onward in our dreamy tale, easing into the forgotten families, those gentle souls who buried their fortunes with hopeful whispers, but never returned to reclaim them. Their stories weaving through history's quiet folds, like threads lost in a vast tapestry, hidden wealth of gold, and silver sleeping undisturbed as lives unfolded elsewhere, ancient money preserved in the earth's embrace, lost to their kin, but echoing in tales of rediscovery that soothe the soul with reflections on impermanence and legacy. Imagine these families not in sorrow or strife, dear listener, but in the calm hues of memory, their existences painted with the soft brushstrokes of daily routines, interrupted by fate's subtle turns, perhaps a merchant family drawn away by distant calls of trade, caravans winding through sun-dappled hills, or wildflowers bloomed in petals soft as whispers, their scents of nectar sweet and floral, mingling with the dusty aroma of well-trodden paths, wagons creaking faintly under loads of silks and spices, leaving behind a jar of coins buried under the hearth's warm stones, gold heavy with promise and silver cool to the touch, fostering a meditative sense of paths diverged, where hidden treasures waited in vain for hands that would not return, history carrying their narratives forward in gentle currents. The town continuing its rhythms, as evenings fell with skies transitioning to deepest indigo, stars emerging like scattered silver fortunes overhead, evoking the quiet emotion of lives lived fully, yet incomplete fortunes lost to time's hush, but found in the dreamy lore of ancient money, the family's absences, a lullaby of what might have been blended with the earth's ongoing whisper of preservation. Feel yourself floating gently alongside these forgotten tales, your breaths deepening to match the unhurried pace of memory's unraveling, as we envision one such family, the merchant and his kin, their home now standing silent after their departure rooms, echoing with the faint creak of settling timbers, textured like aged bark, the air still scented with residual spices from shelves once lined with sacks of cinnamon rough and aromatic its woody warmth, lingering like a fading embrace, while below the floor their hidden wealth slumbered coins nestled in clay, smoothed by the potter's wheel, gold's luster undimmed in darkness, silver's gleam a muted moonlight, as the family journeyed to far-off markets, where voices murmured in harmonious barters under awnings flapping softly in breezes scented with sea, salt and exotic blooms, perhaps never to return due to whispers of illness that swept like autumn leaves through distant lands. Fevers cooling under herbal compresses, soft and pungent with mint's refreshing tang, fostering reflections on how fate's gentle hand guided them elsewhere. Treasures left behind as unintended legacies, ancient money sleeping through seasons where rains pattered on the abandoned roof in rhythmic drops, seeping into thatch yielding and damp, the garden outside reclaiming spaces with vines twisting gracefully, their leaves velvety to the touch and scented with green earthiness, evoking a sense of serene abandonment where forgotten families became part of history's dreamy narrative, lost fortunes waiting beneath layers of time, rediscovery a distant promise like dawn's first light, filtering through mists cool and enveloping the air. Merchant's pouch of plans fading into legend, his children as laughter, a memory echoed in winds, sighing through empty. Courtyards paved with stones cool under imagined footsteps. As we delve deeper into these soothing stories, dear listener, let your imagination linger on another forgotten family, the farmers who tilled the fields with plows of wood, smoothed by generations, their hands calloused yet tender from harvesting grains that rustled in golden waves under suns, warming the earth to a gentle heat, scented with fertile soil and ripening stalks, burying their silver coins in a pouch wrapped in linen soft as down near, the roots of an apple tree whose branches arched protectively, fruits ripening in crimson orbs juicy to the bite, their tart sweetness a balm in harvest times, yet drawn away by the subtle pull of better lands promised in valleys beyond the hills, where rivers murmured with fresh clarity, lapping at banks of mud cool and yielding, leaving their hidden wealth to the silence, gold pieces few but cherished, nestled with silver that tinkled faintly in memory's echo. As seasons turned without their return, perhaps halted by the quiet onset of age, elders resting under quilts, patched with fabrics warm to the touch, breaths slowing in homes far from the burial site, fostering a meditative calm on legacy's unspoken ancient treasures sleeping, as fields grew wild with grasses swaying in breezes that carried pollen light, and powdery evoking history's gentle weave, or families faded like shadows at dusk, lost and found in the earth's patient hold, the tree above growing taller, its bark thickening in ridges rough yet comforting, leaves shedding in autumn carpets soft and crumbling, releasing mulchy aromas that nourished the soil, turning their story into a lullaby of quiet departure, fortunes preserved without claim, hidden wealth, a testament to lives branched in unforeseen directions. The air above the spot cooling with each evening's descent, stars twinkling like forgotten silver in the night's vast treasury. Drift with me further, dear listener, through the sensory haze of yet another tale, envisioning the artisan family weavers of tapestries in workshops lit by lanterns flickering with wicks, burning steadily, casting warm glows on looms where threads intertwined in patterns soft to the touch, scented with wool's lanolin warmth, dyes of madder root's deep red essence burying their gold and silver coins in a chest of wood aromatic with cedar resin under the workshop floor, planks lifting with creaks faint as sighs to reveal the earth's cool granularity, yet called away by the serene lure of patronage in a distant city, where streets wound lazily between buildings of stone textured by wind and rain, Markets bustling with murmurs like a river's flow, perhaps never returning due to the gentle grip of new roots taken. Marriages blooming like flowers in spring gardens, petals unfurling in velvety hues, scented with nectar sweet and inviting, fostering reflections on how forgotten families wove new chapters elsewhere. Hidden treasures left as silent anchors in the old town. Ancient monies clink, silenced in soil that settled in layers damp and fertile, evoking a sense of peaceful divergence where history carried their essence forward. Lost fortunes slumbering as the workshop fell into disuse, vines climbing walls with tendrils soft and green, releasing earthy perfumes blended with decayed wood's musty whisper, the air growing heavy with dews that beaded on surfaces cool to the touch, turning their narrative into a dreamy meditation on paths not retraced, wealth's rediscovery a soft echo of lives lived in full, though unclaimed, the family's legacy lingering like threads in an unfinished weave, winds whispering through open shutters, with hushes like silk sliding over stone. Envision now a broader chorus of these forgotten souls, dear listener. Families of shepherds who grazed flocks on hillsides, carpeted in grasses soft underfoot, their wool warm and scented with lanolin tang, burying silver coins in jars near pens where bells tinkled melodically on necks of sheep padding gently, drawn away by nomadic calls of greener pastures, where meadows bloomed with wildflowers in colors vivid yet soothing, scents of herbal blooms wafting on breezes, cool and invigorating, or scribes who tallied accounts on scrolls, crinkling with papery dryness, scented with ink's sharp tang, hiding gold under hearths warmed by fires crackling with resinous pops, pulled to scholarly havens in libraries of stone, echoing with murmurs low and steady, fostering a harmonious tapestry of departures where hidden wealth remained, ancient treasures sleeping through eras of quiet forgetfulness, history's gentle hand erasing paths back, lost and found in the earth's enduring calm, the townsfolk's absences blending into legends murmured by firesides, flames dancing in orange hues that warmed cheeks like a benevolent sun, evoking emotions of serene acceptance, fortunes unclaimed as new generations walked unaware over burial spots, footsteps padding softly on earth that absorbed sound like a sponge, turning these stories into a lullaby of collective memory. Hidden coins a bridge between past and future, gold and silver's silence, a comforting constant amid life's flowing changes. As we rest in this chapter's tender reflections, dear listener, the forgotten families fading like mist at dawn, their unclaimed treasures fostering a sense of peaceful legacy that flows naturally into the passing of generations. Let this imagery guide you softly to the next phase of our tale, where life moves onward while fortunes remain in silent repose, continuing our meditative journey through history's whispered fortunes. Chapter 7. The Passing of Generations. Dear listener, as the stories of forgotten families dissolve into the gentle haze of memory, like morning mists lifting softly from valley floors under a warming sun, let us glide serenely onward in our dreamy tale, easing into the passing of generations, that tranquil procession where life flowed onward in harmonious cycles above the hidden fortunes, coins of gold and silver resting undisturbed in their earthen beds, ancient money sleeping through the subtle shifts of time as new hands tilled the soil, built homes, and whispered lullabies to children. Hidden wealth preserved in silence, lost to awareness, but woven into history's quiet continuum, awaiting rediscovery's calm light in the unfolding of eras. Imagine this passage not as a hurried march, dear listener, but as a meditative river meandering through landscapes of change, where generations succeeded one another like seasons blending seamlessly. The buried treasures enveloped in soil that settled further with each rainfall's hushed patter, damp and cool like a perpetual embrace. The air above carrying scents of blooming orchards and spring apple blossoms, unfurling in petals soft as whispers, their sweet, powdery fragrance wafting lazily on breezes that stirred leaves in rhythmic rustles, transitioning to summer. As golden fields where grain swayed tall and heavy, scented with fertile earth, warmed by sunlight, filtering through clouds like veils of silk, fostering a sense of eternal renewal as families lived unaware over these spots. Children playing on grass velvety underfoot, their laughter a melodic echo, blending with birdsong, shrilling from branches textured with bark, rough yet yielding, evoking reflections on how life moved forward in peaceful layers. Hidden fortunes of gold, heavy in the depths, silver cool and still, history's gentle narrative continuing without pause. Treasures undisturbed, as grandparents shared tales by hearths, crackling with fires of oak logs popping faintly, releasing smoky warmth that filled rooms with resinous aromas, turning generations into a lullaby of continuity, lost wealth sleeping beneath the footsteps of those who came after. Ancient money's silence a comforting undercurrent amid the flow of human stories. Feel yourself drifting alongside this temporal stream, your breath slowing to align with the unhurried rhythm of years, unfolding as we envision the first new generation settling into the ancient town. Young families claiming homes where burials lay forgotten, perhaps. A young couple repairing a thatched roof with straw golden and yielding its dry hay-like scent, mingling with the earthy aroma of clay used to seal gaps while below the hearth. The jar of coins rested in quiet repose, gold's luster veiled by time's soft patina, silver nestled without a stir, as they kindled fires that glowed with steady warmth, flames dancing in orange hues, casting shadows on walls, textured with fresh plaster smoothed to the touch, fostering a dreamy sense of inheritance where hidden wealth slumbered oblivious. Generations passing as children grew, toddling on floors of packed earth cooled beneath small feet, their games involving sticks and stones gathered from gardens where flowers bloomed in cycles. Petals soft and fragrant roses in velvety pinks, releasing sweet perfumes that blended with morning dews, beating on leaves like scattered crystals, evoking history's serene layering where life bloomed anew. Ancient treasures undisturbed as markets bustled nearby with murmurs low, and steady like a brook's flow, merchants exchanging goods under awnings, flapping gently in winds, scented with spices warm and exotic, cinnamon's woody tang wafting through air, alive with the clink of new coins, not the hidden ones, but those circulating in daily trade, turning the passing of time into a meditative harmony, lost fortunes preserved as elders aged gracefully, sitting on benches of wood smoothed by use, sharing wisdom in voices soft as sighs. The town evolving with paths widening into lanes, paved with cobblestones uneven yet comforting underfoot. Rains washing them clean in persistent drizzles that released fresh mineral scents from the stone. As we immerse deeper into this generational serenity, dear listener, let your thoughts wander through the sensory tapestry of mid-centuries, picturing how fields expanded under the care of descendants, plows turning furrows in soil rich and loamy, its damp fragrance rising with each slice of the blade, gleaming dully in sunlight, while underground, the pouch of hidden coins lay wrapped in fabric softened by ages, gold heavy and silver cool, untouched as harvest ripened in waves of grain golden and swaying, husks rustling faintly in breezes that carried pollen light and powdery, fostering reflections on continuity where families gathered at twilight, lanterns flickering with wicks burning steadily, casting warm glows on tables laden with bread baked in ovens, whose yeasty aroma blended with stewed herbs pungent and soothing. Children listening to stories of old without knowing the treasures beneath, evoking a sense of peaceful ignorance. Hidden wealth sleeping through weddings, where garlands of flowers lavender and chamomile soft to the touch, scented with herbal calm-adorned doorways, or births where cries echoed softly in rooms warmed by quilts patched with fabrics yielding and warm. History weaving onward as trees grew taller over burial sites, trunks thickening in ridges textured like braided time, leaves forming canopies that filtered light in dappled patterns dancing on ground, carpeted with moss velvety and green, its fresh, earthy scent mingling with fallen fruits rotting sweetly in autumn, turning generations into a symphony of subtle evolutions. Ancient money's fortune lost amid the flow, rediscovery a distant whisper like dawn's first bird call, shrilling from distant perches. The air growing layered with scents of progress, fresh sawn wood aromatic, with sap from new barns rising or rivers murmuring nearby, with waters lapping at banks of mud, cool and pliant. Drift with me further, dear listener, through the quiet vista of later eras, envisioning how villages grew into towns with buildings of brick, baked to a warm hue, their surfaces textured by wind and rain releasing faint, dusty aromas, while below forgotten floors, coins slumbered in jars, sealed with wax long hardened, gold's weight a silent anchor, silver's gleam preserved in darkness. As generations pursued crafts in workshops, echoing with the rhythmic tap of hammers on anvils, metallic tang blending with oiled leather soft to the touch, fostering a meditative calm on inheritance unseen, hidden treasures undisturbed as festivals lit the nights with lanterns, swaying in breezes scented with blooming night flowers. Jasmine's velvety perfume wafting lazily amid laughter soft and harmonious, evoking history's gentle persistence where elders passed knowledge like heirlooms. Sitting by riversides where waters flowed with fresh clarity, pebbles smooth under fingers dipped in cool currents, turning the passing of time into a lullaby where fortunes remained in repose, lost amid the bustle of markets where voices rose in melodic haggling, coins new ones clinking in pouches supple from use. The ground above burial spots walked by feet in sandals padding softly, unaware of the wealth beneath. Ancient money sleeping as seasons cycled endlessly, winters blanketing lands in snow soft as down, its crystalline hush muffling sounds, springs awakening with melts, trickling like whispers into soil. Summer's warming meadows with heats that radiated without penetrating depths. Autumn's scattering leaves in russet carpets, crunching faintly underfoot. Their dry, papery scent a reminder of cycles unbroken. Envision now the broader expanse of these passing generations, dear listener, where lineages branched like rivers dividing into streams, some staying rooted in the town, with homes expanding in layers of stone, veined with quartz sparkling subtly, scented with hearth smokes curling from chimneys and resinous tendrils, others wandering to horizons golden at dusk. Yet the hidden coins endured in silence, gold and silver's fortune a constant in the earth's cool hold, fostering reflections on legacy's subtle forms, ancient treasures lost as scribes recorded annals on parchments crinkling with age, inked with scents sharp and enduring, or artisans carved motifs into wood warm to the touch, evoking a sense of harmonious flow where life persisted above, children growing into adults who tended gardens blooming with herbs pungent and healing, leaves crushed under fingers releasing refreshing aromas, turning centuries into a dreamy mosaic of human endeavor. Hidden wealth undisturbed by plows that grazed near but never deep enough, blades slicing soil with hushed scrapes, the air alive with birds flitting in flocks harmonious and fleeting, their feathers soft as down scattering in winds, inviting your mind to relax into this imagery, breaths deepening as generations blend like colors in a twilight sky, fortune sleeping through it all, rediscovery a soft promise in history's embrace. As we linger in this chapter's expansive calm, dear listener, the passing of generations flowing like an eternal stream where hidden coins remained in peaceful solitude, fostering a sense of timeless serenity that carries us naturally to the moment of rediscovery. Let this reflection guide you gently to the next phase of our tale, where workers, farmers, or explorers stumble upon these silent treasures, continuing our meditative journey through the lost and found wonders of ancient wealth. Chapter 8. The Rediscovery. Dear listener, as generations pass in their serene procession, weaving lives like threads through the gentle loom of time, leaving hidden fortunes undisturbed beneath the earth's cool blanket, let us float softly onward in our dreamy tale, easing into the rediscovery itself, that tranquil moment when workers, farmers, or explorers chanced upon the silent treasures of coins long buried, gold and silver emerging from their slumber in history's quiet depths, hidden wealth unveiled without fanfare, ancient money lost for centuries, but found in the calm light of unexpected revelation, turning whispers of the past into soothing echoes of wonder. Imagine this rediscovery not as a dramatic upheaval, dear listener, but as a meditative unfolding, like the gradual blooming of a flower at dawn, petals unfurling slowly under the sun's warm caress, its sweet nectar-scented fragrance blending with morning dews beating on leaves soft as velvet, as a farmer tills his field with a plow slicing through soil rich and loamy, its damp aroma rising in waves earthy and fertile, the blade catching on something solid with a muffled thud that resonates like a distant heartbeat, prompting him to kneel and part the earth with hands calloused yet gentle, fingers sifting through granules cool to the touch, uncovering a jar of clay textured with faint cracks like veins in ancient stone, its seal yielding with a soft crackle, revealing coins that spill forth in a gentle cascade, gold heavy and gleaming faintly after ages in darkness, silver cool and luminous like moonlight, captured in metal, fostering a sense of peaceful surprise where hidden treasure emerges from the ground, history's fortune lost and found in the rhythm of daily labor, the air around him scented with turned soil, mingled with wild grasses swaying nearby, their seed heads rustling faintly in a breeze. It carries hints of ripening fruit from distant orchards, evoking reflections on how such moments bridge eras, ancient money's rediscovery, a lullaby connecting forgotten burials to the present's calm gaze, the farmer's breath steadying as he holds a coin, its weight a comforting presence in his palm, edges ridged and smooth from minting long ago. Feel yourself drifting alongside this serene unveiling, your breaths deepening to match the unhurried pace of the farmer's wonder. As we envision the scene in greater detail, the field stretching out under a sky of soft blue, veiled by wisps of clouds like silk threads, sunlight filtering through in golden shafts that warm the earth to a gentle heat, while the plow's wooden handle, smoothed by years of use, rests against furrows damp and yielding, the discovered jar emerging from its bed of soil that clings to its surface in clumps granular and cool, the farmer brushing them away with careful sweeps, revealing patterns etched by the potter's hand centuries prior, the lid lifting with a hushed sigh, as if exhaling time's accumulated silence, coins tumbling out with a muffled clink like rain on leaves, each gold piece heavy in the hand, its surface etched with motifs of olive branches or regal profiles, faded yet discernible. Silver coins lighter, their tinkling a melodic whisper, blending with the distant call of birds trilling from hedgerows textured, with thorns soft-leaved and blooming, fostering a dreamy reflection on hidden wealth's return. Treasures of ancient money surfacing as the farmer gathers them into a cloth soft as linen, scented faintly with the field's herbal undergrowth thyme, crushed underfoot releasing pungent calm, mingled with the mineral tang of exposed earth, evoking history's gentle cycle, where lost fortunes are found by those attuned to the land's whispers. The rediscovery unfolding without haste, sunlight glinting on the coin's surfaces like stars awakening in a twilight sky, the farmer pausing to trace engravings with fingertips, feeling the cool metal warm slightly from his touch, turning this moment into a meditative communion with the past, hidden coins bridging the silence of centuries to the present's soothing light, the breeze stirring grasses in harmonious waves, carrying scents of wildflowers dotted across the meadow, petals unfurling in colors vivid yet tranquil, inviting thoughts to wander on the lives that once buried these, now lost but echoed in this calm revelation. As we immerse deeper into rediscovery's tranquil layers, dear listener, let your imagination float to a worker's chance find in the midst of quiet labor, perhaps repairing an old home's foundation. Walls of weathered stone textured with moss clinging like green velvet, releasing faint, earthy aromas when disturbed. His tools, a spade with blade gleaming dully, and a hammer tapping rhythmically, uncovering a loose hearthstone that shifts with a soft grind, revealing a cavity cool and shadowed where a pouch of leather softened by ages rests its drawstring frayed, yet intact, yielding to gentle pulls that release coins cascading in a subdued clatter like pebbles in a stream, gold heavy and silver cool. Their surfaces patinated with time as subtle veil, but shining through in gleams that catch the lantern's flicker. The light dancing on engravings of wreaths and sigils from forgotten reigns, fostering a sense of serene astonishment where hidden fortune emerges from domestic depths. Ancient treasure lost and found amid the scents of aged wood aromatic with resin from beams overhead, blended with dust motes floating in air, heavy with the musty essence of disuse, evoking history's whispered return as the worker holds a silver coin, its weight light yet profound, edges milled faintly under thumb. The room warming from midday sun, seeping through windows, veiled by curtains soft and faded, turning the rediscovery into a lullaby of connection. Hidden wealth unveiled as he stacks the coins on a table scarred by generations. Their clink a rhythmic hush, blending with the creak of floorboards underfoot, smooth and worn like paths in a well-trodden garden. The air outside carrying breezes scented with blooming jasmine from courtyard vines twisting gracefully, petals white and velvety, releasing ethereal perfumes that soothe the senses, inviting dreamy reflections on how such findings weave past into present coins of gold and silver, a bridge over time's silent river, the worker's hands. Steady brushing soil remnants cool and granular from each piece, fostering peaceful curiosity without the rush of greed. Drift with me further, dear listener, through the sensory calm of an explorer's gentle stumble, wandering ancient ruins overgrown with ivy tendrils soft to the touch, their green, earthy scent mingling with decayed stone's mineral tang. His footsteps padding softly on ground, carpeted with leaves crumbling under sole and dry rustles. A probe or careful dig revealing a buried chest of wood rotted to fragility, its hinges yielding with faint creaks like sighs from history. Inside, coins nestled in faded cloth yielding and warm, pouring out in a cascade, muffled by moss velvety and damp, gold's heft comforting in the palm, silver's cool gleam reflecting dappled light, filtering through canopy leaves rustling faintly overhead, etched designs of eagles or crowns evoking empires faded into legend, fostering a meditative awe where hidden treasure surfaces and wildernesses embrace, ancient money lost and found amid scents of pine, needles scattered on the forest floor sharp and resinous blended with wet earth from recent rains, pattering through branches in rhythmic drops evoking reflections on exploration's quiet rewards, the rediscovery unfolding as sunlight shafts pierce the gloom, illuminating the fortune like stars in a clearing sky, the explorer kneeling to gather them, fingers tracing textures cool and intricate, turning the moment into a soothing narrative of revelation. Hidden wealth bridging centuries as winds sigh through trees with hushes like silk over stone, carrying hints of wild berries, ripening in dark purples juicy to the bite, their tart sweetness a balm in the air, inviting the mind to relax into imagery of past guardians who buried these, now echoed in this calm unearthing, coins clinking softly as they are pocketed in satchels supple from use, the ruins settling back into silence, broken only by distant streams murmuring with fresh clarity over pebbles smooth and cool. Envision now a harmonious convergence of these rediscoveries. Dear listener, where farmers in fields, workers in homes, and explorers in wilds each encounter their silent fortunes, coins of gold and silver emerging in gentle synchrony across landscapes rolling like waves, frozen in time, scents of soil, stone, and foliage, blending in a symphony of Earth's bounty, fostering a sense of universal calm, where hidden treasures whisper of history's cycles. Ancient money, lost through forgetfulness, but found in moments of unassuming grace. The air alive with subtle sounds, birds, flitting in harmonious flocks, their feathers soft as down, or winds whispering through grasses tall and swaying, evoking peaceful unity in diversity. Fortunes unveiled without disruption, each finder pausing in reflective stillness, holding coins that carry the weight of eras, their metallic tang faint on the breeze, mingled with floral notes from nearby blooms, turning rediscovery into a dreamy meditation on serendipity, hidden wealth, a gift from time's patient hold, inviting breaths to deepen as the narrative flows onward. As we rest in this chapter's soothing unveilings, dear listener, the rediscovery of hidden coins, fostering a sense of peaceful connection across time, let this imagery carry you gently to the awe that follows, where we explore the calm wonder of holding something lost for centuries, continuing our meditative journey through the silent fortunes of history. Chapter 9. The Calm Wonder, dear listener, as the rediscovery unfolds in its gentle revelation, with coins of gold and silver emerging from their long earthen slumber into the light of unsuspecting hands. Let us drift serenely onward in our dreamy tale, easing into the calm wonder that follows that tranquil awe of holding something lost for. Centuries ancient money preserved through time, hushed veil now cradled in palms that feel the weight of history as quiet echo. Hidden wealth unveiled not in clamor, but in meditative stillness, fostering reflections on the profound connection between past and present. Treasures of gold heavy with legacy, and silver cool with forgotten tales, turning this moment into a soothing exploration of wonder's subtle embrace. Imagine this calm wonder not as an overwhelming surge, dear listener, but as a soft glow suffusing the soul, like dawn's first light, filtering through mist soft as silk, warming fields where dews bead on grasses velvety underfoot, their fresh, green scent mingling with the earth's damp whisper, as the finder, be it farmer, worker, or explorer, lifts a single coin, its surface textured with engravings faint, yet intricate, like whispers etched in metal, gold's luster blooming under sunlight's gentle caress, silver's gleam reflecting like moonlight on a still pond, the air around scented with turned soil loamy and fertile, or stone dust mineral and fine, blended with breezes carrying hints of wildflowers blooming nearby, petals unfurling in delicate hues, releasing nectar sweet and floral, fostering a sense of peaceful astonishment, where hidden fortune bridges eras, ancient coins evoking lives once lived in distant rhythms, the holder's breath steadying in rhythmic harmony with the heart's subtle beat, fingers tracing ridges cool to the touch, evoking dreamy thoughts on how such small pieces carried the essence of empires faded into legend, history's fortune lost and found in this intimate grasp, the wonder unfolding slowly like a leaf uncurling in morning warmth, inviting the mind to wander through sensory layers of connection, the coin's weight a comforting anchor grounding the soul in timeless serenity. Feel yourself enveloped in this tranquil awe, your breaths deepening to align with the unhurried pulse of revelation, as we envision the farmer in his field, coins scattered before him on soil crumbly and cool. Picking up a gold piece heavy in the palm, its warmth seeping into skin like sunlight filtered through leaves rustling faintly overhead. The surface etched with olive branches symbolizing peace long past, silver companions lighter, their cool touch like river stones smoothed by centuries of flow. The wonder settling over him like a soft blanket of mist at dawn, eyes widening gently in reflective calm. Not greed, but curiosity stirring as he examines details under the sun's golden shafts. Sense of wild thyme crushed under knee, releasing herbal pungency that clears the mind. Mingled with the field's ripening grains, swaying in breezes light and powdery with pollen, fostering meditations on the families who buried these, their fears and hopes woven into each coin's form. Ancient money's rediscovery, a lullaby of continuity, where wonder blooms without haste, the farmer stacking them slowly. Each clink a melodic hush blending with distant birdsong, trilling in harmonious waves from hedgerows, textured with blooms soft-petaled and fragrant, evoking a sense of serene guardianship as he ponders their value, not just monetary, but historical. Hidden wealth evoking tales, murmured by elders around fires, crackling with resinous pops, releasing smoky warmth that filled nights with resin tang. Turning this calm wonder into a bridge to understanding, the coin's metallic tongue faint on the air, blended with earth's fertile embrace, inviting thoughts to relax into imagery of caravans that once carried them. Camels padding softly on sands shifting like silk, bells tinkling in distant echoes, the farmer's hands steady, brushing remnants of soil granular and damp from engravings that whisper of mints or hammers struck with rhythmic thuds. As we delve deeper into this wonder's soothing depths, dear listener, let your imagination linger on the workers. Quiet marvel in the dim interior of an old home lantern light, flickering on walls textured with plaster, cracked like veins in leaves, illuminating the pouch of coins, poured onto a table scarred by time gold heavy and silver cool spilling in a gentle heap, the wonder enveloping him like evening's cooling air after a warm day, scented with beeswax from the candle's melt, blending with aged wood's aromatic resin from beams overhead, fingers exploring a silver coin's edge milled faintly, its profile of a forgotten ruler, evoking empire's serene fade, fostering reflections on the hidden fears that prompted burial, now unveiled in this peaceful hold. Ancient treasures' fortune stirring emotion soft as whispers, not excitement's rush, but a meditative awe that slows the breath. The room's air heavy with dust motes floating lazily, mingled with faint lavender from dried bundles hanging nearby, their herbal calm wafting in subtle waves, evoking history's gentle return as he weighs a gold piece, its heft profound like the earth's patient hold over centuries, turning the moment into a dreamy communion where calm wonder bridges the chasm of ton coins, clinking softly as they are arranged in piles, their gleam dancing in lantern glow like fireflies in twilight, the worker pausing to feel the texture under thumb cool, metal warming from touch, inviting sensory recollections of markets where these once traded, voices murmuring in harmonious barters under awnings flapping gently, scents of spices, woody and warm, drifting through crowds. Hidden wealth's rediscovery, a balm for the soul, fostering peaceful curiosity about the forgotten families whose hands last held them, shadows lengthening on walls as the day wanes, sunlight seeping through windows in amber hues that soothe the scene into repose. Drift with me further, dear listener, through the explorer's serene astonishment, amid ruins cloaked in ivy soft to the touch, its green, earthy scent mingling with moss velvety on stones cool and weathered, coins from the unearthed chest, cradled in hands dusted with soil fine and granular, gold's weight grounding like an anchor in a calm sea, silver's cool gleam reflecting dappled light through canopy leaves rustling in breezes, scented with pine resin sharp and invigorating, the wonder unfolding like a slow dawn painting skies in lavender and gold, eyes tracing engravings of wreaths and lions, faint yet evocative, fostering a meditative awe where ancient money whispers of lost civilizations, hidden fortune evoking journeys through deserts where sands shifted underfoot like silk, caravans' bells tinkling melodically in memory's echo, the explorer's breath sensing with the forest's hush, broken only by streams murmuring nearby with fresh clarity over pebbles smooth and wet, turning this calm wonder into a lullaby of discovery. Coins handled with care, each one a portal to eras slept through silence, their metallic coolness blending with the air's damp freshness from recent rains, pattering on leaves in rhythmic drops, evoking reflections on time's vast hush now pierced by this gentle unveiling, treasures of gold and silver, fostering a sense of harmonious connection, the explorer stacking them on a cloth, yielding and warm, clinks muffled like distant wind chimes, inviting the mind to wander on. Chapter 10. The Whispered Tales. Dear listener, as the calm wonder settles like a soft veil of twilight over the rediscovered coins, their gold and silver forms, cradled in hands that bridge centuries of silence, let us glide gently onward in our dreamy tale, easing into the whispered tales that spread from these findings, those serene narratives echoing through communities, like gentle ripples on a still pond at dusk, stories of ancient fortunes unveiled, carrying whispers of history's hidden depths, treasures of azures, gold heavy with legacy and silver cool with mystery, shared in hushed conversations by hearths or under starlit skies, fostering a sense of communal serenity where hidden wealth's rediscovery weaves into the fabric of daily life. Ancient money lost and found becoming legends, murmured in voices soft as sighs, turning this chapter into a soothing exploration of tales that flow like breezes through villages, inviting reflections on how such stories soothe the soul with their timeless calm. Imagine these whispered tales not as boisterous proclamations, dear listener, but as meditative murmurs blending with evening's hush, where the finder first shares his discovery with kin gathered around a table, warmed by lantern glow flickering steadily, casting golden pools on wood scarred by generations, the air scented with stewing herbs pungent and comforting, thyme and sage releasing herbal warmth that mingles with bread's yeasty aroma fresh from the oven, as words flow slowly, describing the coin's emergence from soil cool and granular or stone textured with moss. Gold's heft demonstrated in an open palm, silver's gleam catching light like distant stars, fostering a peaceful ripple of awe that spreads outward, tales traveling on winds, scented with wildflowers blooming along paths, petals soft and fragrant, releasing nectar sweet and floral, evoking history's gentle echo as neighbors convene in courtyards paved with cobblestones, uneven yet familiar underfoot. Their voices low and harmonious, like a brook's murmur over pebbles smooth to the touch. Stories embellished subtly with each retelling. Hidden fortunes growing in lore without losing their serene essence. Ancient money's narrative, a lullaby that calms gatherings. The night air cooling with dews, beating on grasses velvety nearby. Stars emerging overhead, twinkling like scattered silver in the sky's vast treasury. Inviting dreamy thoughts on how whispers connect communities in bonds of wonder. Feel yourself drifting amid these spreading murmurs, your breath sensing with the unhurried rhythm of stories unfolding, as we envision the farmer's tale beginning in his modest home. Coins laid out on a cloth soft as linen, scented faintly with lavender from storage chests. Family members leaning in with eyes wide in gentle curiosity, the finder recounting the plow's muffled thud, and the jar's yielding seal with a soft crackle. Gold pieces passed hand to hand, their weight a comforting presence warming from touch. Silver tinkling lightly like chimes in a faint breeze. The wonder shared in voices hushed as evening shadows lengthen on walls textured with plaster smooth and cool, fostering reflections on buried fears now unveiled, ancient treasures evoking questions whispered like leaves rustling in autumn winds, scents of hearth fire crackling with pops of dry twigs, releasing smoky resin tongue that fills the room with warmth, the tale seeping outward to the village square where elders sit on benches of wood, smoothed by use their pipes puffing tendrils aromatic with tobacco's earthy sweetness, listeners nodding in rhythmic harmony as details flow coins etched with wreaths or profiles from forgotten reigns. Hidden wealth story blending with local legends of old, evoking a sense of serene continuity where whispered tales soothe like a balm, the air carrying hints of ripening fruits from orchards nearby, apples heavy and juicy with tart aromas wafting lazily, turning narratives into meditative threads that weave communities closer, ancient money's fortune lost, and found inspiring evenings of shared reflection, winds sighing through trees with hushes soft as silk sliding over stone, inviting the mind to relax into imagery of caravans that once bore these coins, bells tinkling melodically on camels, padding through sands, shifting like down. As we immerse deeper into these tales' tranquil diffusion, dear listener, let your imagination wander through the worker's narrative spreading in the town, starting with kin in a workshop lit by candles burning with wicks steady and warm, casting flickers on tools hanging from pegs, textured with oiled metal cool to the touch, coins from the hearth cavity displayed on a workbench scarred by hammers' taps, gold heavy and silver cool poured from the pouch with a muffled clatter like rain on thatch, the finder describing the stone's shift and the leather's frayed yield in tones low and steady, fostering a calm ripple of intrigue as family members trace engravings under light dancing like fireflies. Scents of sawdust fresh and piney mingling with leather's supple tang from nearby hides. The story extending to market stalls where vendors pause amid awnings flapping gently, their voices murmuring in harmonious barters, scented with spices woody and exotic cinnamon S warmth blending with nutmeg's nutty essence. Listeners gathering in clusters loose and peaceful, tales of hidden fortune evoking nods and soft exclamations. Ancient money's rediscovery, woven into conversations like threads, in a loom clicking rhythmically, evoking history's gentle persistence as details evolve subtly, perhaps adding whispers of ghostly guardians or fateful storms that prompted burials. The square alive with evening bustle, yet soothed by the narrative's flow, lanterns swaying in breezes carrying pollen light in powdery from fields golden and swaying, turning whispered tales into a lullaby that calms the collective spirit, fostering bonds where communities reflect on impermanence, coins' metallic gleam, remembered in stories passed like heirlooms. The air growing heavy with night dews, settling on cobblestones cool and uneven, stars above mirroring the silver's scattered glow. Drift with me further, dear listener, through the explorer's serene accounts, echoing in taverns or scholarly halls, beginning with companions around a campfire, crackling with resinous pops of branches, textured like braided bark, flames dancing in orange hues, casting warmth on faces, lined with quiet resolve, coins from the ruin's chest handled with care, gold's heft and silver's cool passed in a circle, the finder recounting the ivy's soft tendrils and the wood's fragile yield, in voices blending with the night's hush broken by owls hooting softly from perches distant and shadowed, scents of pine needles scattered on the ground, sharp and invigorating, mingled with smoke's woody embrace. The tale venturing to gatherings and libraries, where scrolls crinkle with papery dryness, inked aromas sharp and enduring, scholars leaning over tables smooth with wax polish, examining coins under magnifying glasses that catch light in prismatic gleams, fostering meditative discussions on historical contexts, ancient treasures evoking analyses, whispered like pages turning in ancient books, the air scented with aged parchment musty and inviting, blended with herbal teas, steaming in cups warm to the hold. Tales spreading to wider circles through letters, sealed with wax dripping slowly, its honeyed tang lingering, evoking a sense of harmonious curiosity where hidden wealth story inspires art or poetry. Verses murmured in rhythms, soothing as waves, lapping at shores of sand fine and warm, turning narratives into dreamy mosaics that connect distant souls. Winds carrying whispers to open windows, veiled by curtains soft and faded, inviting reflections on rediscovery's quiet magic. Ancient money's fortune a thread linking explorers to the buried past. The halls settling into silence with the occasional rustle of notes scribbled on paper, textured and yielding. Envision now the collective harmony of these whispered tales, dear listener, spreading like vines twisting gracefully across landscapes, from fields scented with loam fertile and damp, to homes with wood resin aromatic and warm, or wilds with foliage green and earthy, fostering a universal calm, where stories of gold heavy and silver cool unite communities in serene wonder. Ancient hidden treasures evoking gatherings, where voices rise in melodic hush, not clamor, but peaceful exchange. The air alive with subtle symphonies, birds chirping in flocks harmonious and fleeting, their feathers soft as down, or rains pattering in rhythmic drizzles, releasing fresh, mineral scents from earth, evoking emotions of shared legacy, fortunes lost through silence, but found in narratives that soothe like lullabies, each retelling adding layers soft as petals unfurling, scents of nectar blending with evening's cooling veil, turning tales into a meditative tapestry of connection, inviting breaths to deepen as whispers envelop like a warm, endless night. Rediscovered wealth, a catalyst for communal dreams, blending sensory echoes into a chorus of calm revelation. As we linger in this chapter's gentle diffusion, dear listener, the whispered tales of rediscovered coins, fostering a sense of peaceful unity that flows naturally into the reflections on their historical significance. Let this imagery carry you softly to the next phase of our tale, where scholars and dreamers ponder the deeper meanings of these ancient fortunes, continuing our meditative journey through the lost and found wonders of history. Chapter 11. The Deeper Meanings, Dear Listener. As the whispered tales ripple through communities like soft echoes in a tranquil valley at twilight, weaving stories of rediscovered coins into the gentle fabric of shared memory, let us float serenely onward in our dreamy tale, easing into the deeper meanings pondered by scholars and dreamers. Those meditative reflections on the historical significance of ancient fortunes unveiled from Earth's quiet hold, treasures of gold heavy with symbolism and silver cool with enigma, inviting contemplations on humanity's enduring themes of preservation, loss, and rediscovery. Hidden wealth's narrative, a soothing mirror to the soul's own journeys through time. Ancient money lost in silence, but found to illuminate broader truths. Turning this chapter into a calm exploration of meanings that resonate like whispers from history's depths, fostering peaceful insights that soothe the mind with their timeless wisdom. Imagine these deeper meanings not as abstract philosophies, dear listener, but as sensory tapestries unfolding in the quietude of study halls or solitary reveries, where a scholar bends over an ancient coin under lamplight flickering steadily, casting warm glows on parchment, textured with age's faint crinkles, the air scented with ink's sharp tang, mingled with beeswax from seals melted slowly, the gold piece in hand, heavy like the weight of forgotten empires. Its engravings of wreaths or eagles, evoking cycles of rise and fall, silver's cool surface reflecting thoughts on transients like moonlight, on waters still and deep, fostering reflections on how such hidden fortunes symbolize humanity's instinct to safeguard against uncertainty, buried in soil cool and granular, or under stones smooth to the touch, evoking dreamy parallels to personal legacies preserved in memories soft as down. History's fortune a lullaby, reminding us of impermanence, the scholar's breath steadying in rhythmic harmony with quill scratches on paper, yielding and warm. Scents of herbal teas steaming nearby, with chamomile's soothing essence wafting lazily, inviting the mind to wander on how rediscovery mirrors awakenings of the spirit, ancient coins bridging eras in a meditative flow, their metallic tang faint on the air, blended with dust motes, floating in sunbeams, filtering through windows, veiled by curtains soft and faded, turning ponderings into a serene dialogue with the past, deeper meanings unfolding like petals in dawn's gentle light, dews beating on surfaces cool and inviting. Feel yourself sinking into these reflective depths, your breaths deepening to match the unhurried cadence of scholarly musings as we envision a historian in a library, vast and hushed shelves lined with tomes bound in leather supple from ages their musty aroma, blending with polished wood's resinous warmth, examining a silver coin etched with profiles of rulers long faded. Its cool weight evoking meditations on power's fleeting nature. Hidden wealth buried amid fears of invasion or upheaval, now found to teach lessons of resilience. Gold companions heavy in the palm, symbolizing enduring value beyond material, fostering peaceful insights on how such treasures represent hope entrusted to the earth ancient monies. Rediscovery a balm for understanding societal shifts. The air heavy with parchment's papery dryness, mingled with incense burning faintly in corners shadowed and calm. Evoking history's gentle lessons where dreamers ponder in solitary walks along paths carpeted with leaves rustling faintly. Underfoot their dry, earthy scent released with each step, coins imagined in mind's eye as metaphors for buried potentials. Unearthed silvers gleam like inner light emerging from darkness. Gold's heft like grounded wisdom, turning deeper meanings into a lullaby of self-reflection. Winds sighing through trees with hushes soft as silk, carrying pollen light and powdery from meadows blooming nearby. Petals unfurling in velvety hues, scented with nectar sweet and floral, inviting thoughts to relax into parallels between personal journeys and these historical echoes. Hidden fortunes, a mirror to the soul's own burials, and rediscoveries the historian noting observations in journals with ink flowing. Smoothly pages turning with whispers like waves, lapping at shores of sand fine and warm. As we delve further into these meanings, soothing layers, dear listener, let your imagination linger on a philosopher's contemplative gaze upon a rediscovered hoard. Coins spread on a table of oak, smoothed by time, its grain warm to the touch under sunlight shafts, golden and dappled gold heavy, evoking meditations on wealth's illusion, buried to evade loss yet forgotten in time's hush. Silver cool, symbolizing purity, preserved through centuries of silence, fostering reflections on existential themes where hidden treasures whisper of attachment and release. Ancient money lost amid generations passing, now found to illustrate fate's gentle hand. The air scented with blooming roses from garden vines, twisting gracefully outside, their velvety perfume wafting in breezes cool and invigorating, mingled with earth's damp undercurrent from recent rains, pattering on leaves in rhythmic drops, evoking dreamy analogies to life's hidden depths. Scholars debating in circles loose and harmonious, voices murmuring like brooks over pebbles smooth and cool. Deeper meanings unfolding as symbols of cultural continuity. Coins engravings tracing trade routes like veins in history's body. Gold's luster undimmed, paralleling knowledge, enduring obscurity, turning ponderings into a meditative harmony where dreamers envision burials as acts of faith in future unveilings. Ancient fortunes a testament to human foresight, the philosopher pacing floors of stone, textured with faint moss. Footsteps padding softly, absorbing sound like sponges, inviting sensory recollections of eras when these were minted. Hammers striking with rhythmic thuds in forges, glowing with heat's orange embrace. Scents of molten metal sharp and acrid, blending with sweat's salty tang, fostering calm wisdom on rediscovery's role in renewing appreciation for the past. Drift with me deeper, dear listener, through the sensory calm of an artist's inspired reverie, sketching coins' forms on canvas, stretched taut and yielding, brushes dipping into pigments vivid yet soothing ochres for gold's warm heft. silvers mixed with whites for cool gleams. The studio air aromatic with linseed oil's nutty essence, mingled with turpentine's sharp clarity deeper. Meanings emerging in artworks where hidden wealth symbolizes buried creativity unearthed ancient. Treasures evoking musings on beauty's timeless allure, gold heavy like the sun's captured rays, silver cool as moonlit reflections, fostering peaceful expressions through poetry murmured in rhythms like heartbeats, steady and low. Verses weaving tales of loss and find into lullabies that soothe gatherings by firesides. Chapter 12. The New Journeys, Dear Listener. As the deeper meanings of rediscovered coins unfold in their serene reflections, illuminating truths like soft lanterns in a twilight garden where dews bead on petals velvety and cool, let us drift gently onward in our dreamy tale, easing into the new journeys these treasures embark upon. Those tranquil paths where ancient fortunes of gold heavy with history and silver cool with mystery find fresh abodes in museums, private collections, or bustling markets. Hidden wealth once lost in earth's embrace, now carried forward in harmonious flows of preservation and exchange. Ancient money's narrative, continuing without haste, fostering a sense of peaceful transition that soothes the soul with visions of legacy's gentle evolution, turning this chapter into a calming exploration of journeys that weave past into present's quiet tapestry. Imagine these new journeys not as hurried travels, dear listener, but as meditative migrations like leaves floating on a slow river under canopies rustling faintly in breezes, scented with pine resin sharp and invigorating. As a coin of gold, its surface etched with wreaths faint yet profound, is handed to a museum curator in halls, echoing softly with footsteps absorbed by marble floors smooth to the touch. The air scented with polished wood's resinous warmth, mingled with archival paper's musty essence. The artifact placed in glass cases, illuminated by lights soft and steady, casting gleams on silver companions cool and luminous, fostering reflections on how such treasures bridge eras in public gaze. Ancient fortunes displayed for wanderers who pause in rhythmic harmony, eyes tracing engravings under glass clear as still waters, evoking history's whispered continuity as labels murmur origins in inks dried smoothly. The museum's atmosphere heavy with scents of conserved fabric soft as silk from nearby exhibits, inviting dreamy thoughts on preservation's balm. Hidden wealth's rediscovery evolving into educational lullabies that calm visitors. Daylight filtering through windows and golden shafts, warming the space without glare, turning journeys into serene narratives where coins rest in honored repose. Their metallic tongue faint yet evocative, blending with faint floral notes from gardens outside blooming in successive waves, petals unfurling with nectar sweet and floral wafting lazily inward. Feel yourself accompanying these tranquil voyages, your breaths slowing to align with the unhurried pace of artifacts in motion. As we envision a rediscovered hoard entering a museum's embrace, the finder presenting coins in a chamber lined with shelves of oak, textured with grains warm under finger, curators gloved in cotton soft and yielding, handling each piece with care, gold heavy placed on velvet cushions crimson and plush, its luster blooming under examination lights, flickering, not but steady silver cool, arranged in patterns, evocative of their burial formations. the process unfolding like a ritual in hushed tones, blending with the tick of clocks distant and rhythmic, fostering a sense of sacred transition where ancient. Money journeys from private wonder to communal heritage, scents of conservation oils nutty and subtle, mingling with leather from bound catalogs, crinkling faintly when opened, evoking history's gentle handover as labels are affixed with adhesives mild and scentless, coins encased in displays where glass reflects like mirrors in morning mist, visitors later drifting by in loose clusters, their murmurs low as brook flows over pebbles smooth and cool, turning the museum into a meditative sanctuary. Hidden treasures inspiring pauses where hands hover near but never touch. The air growing layered with breaths steady and calm, blended with faint aromas of coffee from distant cafes, steaming with roasted tang, inviting reflections on how new journeys preserve legacies, ancient fortunes sleeping, no more but awakening minds to eras past. Curator's notes scribbled on pads textured and yielding, inks flowing in scripts neat and flowing, the hall settling into evening hush, with shadows lengthening like veils soft as down, stars visible through skylights twinkling like scattered silver overhead, fostering peaceful continuity in preservation's hold. As we immerse deeper into these journey's soothing paths, dear listener, let your thoughts wander to a private collector's serene acquisition. Perhaps a scholar of antiquities receiving coins in a study warmed by hearth fires, crackling with pots of sap-filled logs, releasing smoky resin tang. The air aromatic, with aged books musty and inviting stacked on shelves, reaching to ceilings, beamed with wood smoothed by time. Gold heavy exchanged with nods gentle and knowing, placed on desks of mahogany, polished to a warm sheen. Silver cool, arranged under magnifying lenses that catch light in prismatic gleams, fostering meditations on personal guardianship, where hidden wealth finds intimate homes, ancient money's fortune, curated in solitude's calm, the collector tracing engravings with fingers ungloved yet reverent, feeling ridges faint and intricate like braided time, evoking dreamy parallels to one's own inner collections of memories, soft as whispers. Scents of pipe tobacco, earthy and sweet, wafting from armchairs upholstered in leather supple and warm, turning the journey into a lullaby of private reflection. Coins catalogued in journals with pages, turning in hushes like leaves in autumn winds, inks drying in scents sharp and enduring. The room's atmosphere heavy, with candle wax melting slowly, blended with herbal infusions steaming in cups porcelain and delicate, inviting the mind to relax into imagery of nocturnal studies, where lamplight dances on gold surface like fireflies in twilight, silver's gleam muted yet profound, fostering bonds between collector and artifact as if whispering secrets across centuries. Windows open to gardens where night blooms release jasmine's velvety perfume lazily on breezes cool and enveloping. Ancient treasures journeying from earth's depths to shelves lined with velvet soft to the touch, their presence a comforting constant. Amid books rustling when browsed, evoking history's personal echoes in quiet repose. Drift with me further, dear listener, through the sensory calm of market exchanges, envisioning coins, entering bustling yet harmonious trade in sunlit squares, where stalls stand under awnings, flapping gently in winds, scented with spices, woody and exotic cinnamon as warmth, mingling with cardamom's nutty spice. Buyers and sellers murmuring in tones low and melodic like a river's flow. Gold heavy weighed on scales, balancing with rhythmic clinks. Its value assessed under eyes keen but calm. Silver cool passed in pouches, supple from use, fostering a sense of fluid transition where ancient fortunes circulate anew. Hidden wealth's rediscovery, evolving into economic whispers that soothe with familiarity. The air alive with scents of fresh bread baking in ovens nearby. Yeasty aromas blending with fruits ripening in baskets, woven and rough to the touch, evoking reflections on value's enduring cycle as haggling unfolds without haste. Voices rising in harmonious barters, coins changing hands with touches light as feathers, turning markets into meditative hubs where history meets modernity. Ancient money journeying from burial to barter, its metallic tongue faint amid pollen light and powdery from flowers dotted in vases clay and cool, inviting dreamy thoughts on commerce's gentle rhythm. Buyers feeling the weight in palms, engravings traced under sunlight shafts golden and warm. The square buzzing softly with footsteps padding on cobblestones uneven yet comforting. Rain's occasional pattering in drizzles releasing fresh, mineral scents from stone, fostering communal journeys where treasures find new stewards each exchange. A thread in history's weave winds carrying laughter soft and fleeting like echoes in a valley, turning the scene into a lullaby of renewal hidden fortunes preserved through trade's serene dance. Envision now the broader harmony of these new journeys. Dear listener, where coins of gold heavy and silver cool traverse paths to museums scented with archival must, collections with bookish warmth, or markets with spiced vitality, fostering a universal calm as ancient hidden treasures blend into contemporary flows, evoking peaceful unity in diversity, the air alive with subtle sounds, clocks ticking in halls, pages turning in studies, voices murmuring in squares, all in rhythmic hush like heartbeats, steady and low, scents blending in symphonies of resin, ink,